The Coast Guard gets plenty of strange calls. Lost kayakers, boats taking on water, even the occasional fisherman who swears the ocean is moving on purpose. But this one made the night shift operator sit up a little straighter. At 2:14 a.m., the radio snapped alive. A man shouting over wind and static, panicked, out of breath. "Mayday! Mayday! We've run aground!" Coordinates follow. Run aground? Out here? 100 miles from the nearest shore? He checked the map. Checked again. Triple-checked. Because caffeine lies at 2 a.m. But nope. That stretch of ocean was emptier than the office birthday calendar. The man repeated the coordinates. Same spot. Same impossible location. We're standing on the beach, and it's not on the charts. There's no island here. The operator leaned toward the speaker, like that ever helps reception. Say again, your last transmission was static, then silence. He waited, listened, nothing. He logged it as probable user error, which is Coast Guard code for probably just a drunk guy yelling at the moon. Except, 6 hours later, when the rescue crew reached the coordinates, there was no wreck, no debris, no sailors, just endless black water. And yet, every sonar device insisted the same thing. Something solid was down there. A shape, massive, still, like the ghost of an island trying to remember the last time it surfaced. And this was only the beginning. The rescue crew launched at first light, a chopper slicing through cold North Atlantic air, headed straight for the coordinates from the Mayday call. The weather was perfect, visibility clear, no storms, nothing that should hide, well, anything. But as they crossed into the search grid, the ocean below looked calm, too calm, just endless steel blue water stretching forever. "Anything on radar?" the pilot asked. "Negative. Clean sweep." Clean sweeps make rescue crews nervous. Nature rarely keeps a tidy desk. Then, a blip, just for a second. A sharp, perfect sonar return. "Hold up! Got something at 60 meters!" A solid mass, big, stationary. But by the time the tech ran the scan again, gone. No return. Nothing but blue water and the hum of the equipment. The co-pilot frowned. Faulty read? Maybe, but the tech shook his head. He knew that tone every crew member recognizes, the "I didn't imagine that" tone. They circled the area again. Wide arc, narrow arc, tighter. Nothing. Just ocean. But every few minutes, the sonar twitched. A hint of mass, a flicker, like something was there but didn't want to be seen. The pilot radioed back to base. "Search grid negative for wreckage, but we're getting intermittent returns from below." The operator on the other end hesitated. "Below what?" "Below nothing. Just water." Whatever was under that chopper, it wasn't a boat. News of the strange sonar blips reached the mainland fast, faster than most rescue reports ever do. And one person paid attention immediately. Dr. Ivar Holm, a marine historian who practically lived inside old ship records. When he heard the coordinates, he froze. Not because of the Mayday call, but because he'd seen that spot before. He pulled a leather-bound logbook from his shelf, the kind sailors kept in the 1800s, filled with cramped handwriting and questionable spelling choices. Holm flipped through weather reports, fishing tallies, and complaints about the cook's mutinous potatoes. He's found it, a sketch of an island labeled Hrafnáey, Raven's Isle. It was charted in 1838, and then erased in 1839. Charted again in 1864, erased in 1865. Always the same coordinates, Always the same story. Crews swore they saw an island, land rising out of the waves at dusk, only for it to vanish hours later. Holm cross-checked records, whalers, trawlers, survey ships, even old naval logs. Every few decades, someone reported land where no land should be. Then, a final note scribbled in the margin. The island comes and goes, as if it breathes. Holm grabbed his coat and sprinted to the harbor office, waving the logbook. "I need access to the Coast Guard audio," he said. "They found it." Or it found them. Raven's Isle hadn't appeared in over 70 years. At least, not officially. But if the mayday call was real, it was back. By mid-afternoon, Holm reached a tiny fishing village on Iceland's northern coast, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone. And everyone knows something they shouldn't. He showed the logbook to a group of fishermen repairing nets on the pier. They barely glanced at it. "Oh, that island," one of them said, like Holm had just asked about the weather. Holm blinked. "You know it?" "Of course we know it. Shows up when it wants, goes away when it's bored." Holm tried to laugh it off, but the men weren't smiling. The oldest fisherman tapped the logbook with a calloused finger. "Hrafnáey," he said. "Raven's Isle." Another added, "Island rises out of the sea at dusk, just enough to tempt you in. And once you're on it," he paused, pulling a frayed rope through trembling hands, "it decides if you get to leave." Holm frowned. "That's impossible. Land doesn't move." "Tell that to the sea," one fisherman muttered. Stories poured out, tales of boats seeing shoreline where no shoreline existed, of seagulls circling a phantom cliff, of lantern lights flickering on rock that wasn't supposed to be there. One man leaned closer. "I saw it once," he said. "Thought it was fog at first, until the fog started humming." Holm felt a chill, and the North Atlantic wasn't usually polite enough to warn you first. "The island chooses," the man said. "Some see it. Some don't. Some never come back." Holmes snapped his logbook shut. Folklore or not, these stories lined up with 2 centuries of maritime sightings. A vanishing island, a breathing island, an island that picked its visitors. Holm radioed the research vessel immediately. They needed to reach that spot before someone else did. Within an hour, Holm was aboard the research station's weather hub, a cramped room packed with humming screens and scientists who hadn't slept since sometime last week. He pulled up the satellite logs for the past 24 hours. Most frames showed nothing but cold, empty ocean. Then, there it was. A dark shape, jagged edges, clearly land. Exactly at the coordinates from the mayday call. Holmes zoomed in, his heart pounding. Please don't be a shadow. Please don't be a shadow. It wasn't. The mass was solid, defined. It even cast a faint outline on the water. But before he could screenshot it, the next satellite frame loaded. Gone. Just open ocean again, like the island had blinked out of existence. One of the techs groaned. "Oh, not this again." Holm leans in. "You've seen this before?" The tech nodded. "Every few years, something shows up in that region, just for a second. Thermal readings spike, shadow appears. Then, nothing." They rattled off possibilities. Floating pumice rafts, volcanic gas reflections, light distortion over cold water, even digital artifacting. Holm raised an eyebrow. Right. And which of those explains we're standing on the beach? Silence. He scrubbed through the timeline again, frame by frame, until he spotted a detail everyone else missed. Birds. A small swirl of them, circling above the island in the exact frame it existed. But seabirds don't circle open water like that. They circle land. Holmes straightened. No volcanic gas cloud makes birds appear. Someone in the back muttered, "So, the island was really there?" Holmes stared at the still image, the one frame where reality slipped. "Yeah," he whispered, "it was there. And whatever made it vanish was coming back." For the research vessel Arctos, a steel giant built for storms, not stories. But tonight, it was about to get both. The crew plotted a straight course toward the coordinates. Clear skies, smooth water, nothing unusual, which was suspicious all by itself. Halfway there, the GPS chirped, then glitched, then froze. "Great," the navigator muttered, tapping the screen. "Brand new system and it already hates us." Leaning in, darker tone, Holmes frowned. "Is that normal? Out here? Unless the ocean is having feelings again." Then the compass began to spin. Slow at first, then faster, like it was trying to point everywhere at once. A deckhand shouted from topside, "Fog incoming!" Fog, thick, rolling in way too quickly, not drifting, rushing. A wall of white swallowing the horizon. Holmes stepped onto the deck. He could barely see the bow. The world shrank into a cold, wet tunnel where sound felt heavier than air. Somewhere in the mist, he heard it. Birds. Seabirds crying overhead, but the nearest breeding cliffs were 100 miles away. The crew exchanged looks. "Birds don't fly out here," someone said. "They do, if there's land." The engine hummed harder as the vessel pushed forward. The fog thickened. Every step felt like wading into a dream that didn't want witnesses. Then the sonar pinged. Once, twice. Solid mass ahead. Close. "Land?" the captain asked. Holmes swallowed. Or something pretending to be. The ship lurched. The fog brightened, not with sunlight, but with a pale, ghostly glow like light reflecting off wet stone. And just as Holmes stepped forward, the fog began to part. Something huge, black, and unmistakably there rose out of the sea. The island had arrived. The fog peeled back like a curtain, revealing dark, volcanic rock rising straight from the water, slick with mist and streaked with moss. An island, a real one, solid, towering. No mirage, no trick of light. This thing had weight. The captain slowed the engines as the ship crept toward a narrow inlet. Holmes leaned over the rail, eyes wide. Ancient stone markers dotted the shore, weathered but deliberate, as if someone had carved warnings into the island's skin. "No one's been here in centuries," he murmured. A crewman shook his head. "Or something hasn't left." The ship dropped anchor. Holmes and 2 crew members stepped onto the island, boots sinking into spongy moss that vibrated faintly beneath their feet. "Earthquake?" one man asked. "No. This is rhythmic." The ground pulsed, like a slow heartbeat echoing from deep below. Something was alive under this island, and it was moving. They followed a narrow path inland, twisted through jagged lava rock toward a low cliff face etched with deep carvings. Symbols, figures, ships approaching the island, then disappearing beneath waves carved in violent strokes. Holmes traced a finger along one panel. "These are warnings," he said. "Or records." "Records of what?" Holmes swallowed. "Visitors, and what the island did to them." "Great," a crewman muttered. "Worst vacation spot ever." The ground pulsed again, stronger, faster. "Time to go," Holmes said. "Now." They hurried back toward the shore. the ground humming beneath them like something waking up. By the time they reached the beach, the waterline had risen 2 feet in minutes. The island wasn't sinking, it was descending. "Move!" Holm yelled. They sprinted for the boat as the island began sliding back into the sea, taking its secrets with it. The crew watched from the deck as the island slipped beneath the waves. Silent. Effortless. Gone. By morning, sonar showed nothing. Just deep, empty water. And the Coast Guard logged the whole thing as an environmental anomaly. Their favorite way of saying, "Let's never speak of this again." Locals weren't surprised. They just shrugged and said, "Islands do as they please." Some islands are born from storms, some from fire, and some from stories. Thanks for watching. This is Truthish, where things are mostly true and always strange.